evening. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We want to welcome you to this week's Holistic Life podcast. I am your host, Shelby Frederick, also known as Lady Jules. And we are going to get started here in just a second. We want to get our stream shared to my page. And we will also start the actual podcast on Anchor. So if you are there, come on in and join me. Good evening, everyone. And we are using a new platform on tonight. We want to see how this is going to work for us going forward. But we want to welcome you. And I am actually going to go ahead and start our Facebook, our Anchor podcast. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to welcome you to the Holistic Life podcast with your host, Shelby Frederick, also known as Lady Jules. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, 2019, and we are broadcasting live from Columbus, Ohio. I am so excited that you are here and that you are joining us on our Stop the Stress podcast on tonight. We had just concluded an awesome series on soul construction. And we are shifting a little bit into more of our holistic teachings and trainings and things that we are going to be sharing here on the Holistic Life podcast. And I believe that this is a topic that each and every single person can relate to. If you know, like I know, at some point in time, we encounter some type of stress in our life. And so we're going to talk about stress, and we're going to give you some tips and some tools on how to identify when you are having a stressful moment, and also what you can do about it. So what is stress? What is stress? Well, I'll tell you. Stress is a mental, physical, and a behavioral response to a variety of stimuli. So contrary to popular belief, stress is not necessarily caused by an acutely or upsetting event. Stress actually results from everyday life experiences as well as unexpected changes. So we don't enter into moments of stress just when we have some unexpected event that happens. Every single day, each and every single person will experience some type of stress, and it can be mental, it can be physical, and it can also be behavioral. Now, how does stress affect my body? How does stress affect my body? Well, the body is made up of 11 body systems. Some say 12. We're going to list them all. So it is made up of the respiratory system, nervous system, integumentary system, skeletal system, immune system, excretory system, muscular system, circulatory system, digestive system, reproductive system, and the endocrine system. Now, some people will also include the lymphatic system. So depending upon what train of thought you look at, you're either going to know that there are either 11 or 12 body systems. But these body systems all interact with one another, and stress impacts them differently. Now, stress, when we look at the nervous system, stress activates the nervous system and the endocrine system, or our hormonal system. So, if stimulation is prolonged, changes in the following body systems will occur, or they can occur. It can occur in the muscular system, where you get real tight in your muscles. You may feel it in your neck. You may feel it in your back or your shoulders, and sometimes even in your hips. Your digestive system, you can feel it where you can feel like you get a stomach ache, or you're having digestive issues where you're not able to properly digest your food. It can also take and affect the cardiovascular system. It affects our heart. It can affect our skin, where you have breakouts. It can affect our endocrine system, which is our hormones, and it can also affect our brain. So stress can cause physical and mental exhaustion and may increase your likelihood of developing disease, or I like to say dis-ease. So stress can cause dis-ease or disease in a body. Some health professionals actually believe that individuals who view stress in a positive manner may not suffer the negative effects that are associated with. So, how you think is so important. Learning how to manage your emotions during stressful moments, whether it is something that is unexpected or whether it is just an everyday life experience. It becomes very important for us to learn how to manage our emotions. Now, how can I reduce my stress? How can I reduce my stress? We're going to give you 5 different tips on how to reduce your stress. So if you are listening in and you have a pen and paper, now would be a good time to grab it. If you don't already have it, now would be a good time to do so, because we are going to give you some information on tonight. Now, the number one, or what's number one on our list on tonight, is time management. Time management. Time management will help you to improve your ability to use time effectively and efficiently. It also helps to deal with one of the greatest time robbers, and that is procrastination. Procrastination. Now, how can you help to overcome procrastination? Let me give you a few tips. Number 1, make a daily to-do list. When you make a daily to-do list, it gives you a clear picture of what you need to accomplish for that particular day. Sometimes we get so stressed out because we have things that we know that we need to accomplish, maybe on a different day of the week. But the best way of reducing your stress and to reduce procrastination is to make a daily to-do list for that particular day. You want to select the same time every day to write your list. Now, what is the importance of that? The importance of selecting the same time is that it helps you to establish discipline. It helps you to establish a routine. And when you begin to establish discipline and routine, then that is going to help you overcome the procrastination. Okay? So select the same time every single day to write your list. Me personally, I like to make my list. I usually look at my week on Sundays and begin to break down what I need to do for a particular day. And then I revisit it at the beginning of that day, or usually at night, so that I can get an idea for the next morning when I wake up, what it is that I need to do so that I can get going on my way. Now, number 2, when you are talking about making a to-do list, you want to keep your list realistic. Be realistic. We're not Superwoman and we are not Superman. So do what you know that you can realistically accomplish for a particular day or for a particular task. This means keeping your list short. You should have no more than 5 to 8 items on your list for the day. Anything more than that becomes overwhelming, which is going to cause you to revert back to procrastinating because now you're looking at what all you have to accomplish in order to finish your goal for the day. So keep your list realistic by keeping it short, no more than 5 to 8 items. The third thing that you want to do is prioritize them in the order of having your most important tasks at the top of your list. And then make a list for things that are medium priority. So you have your high priority, you have your medium priority, and then you have your low priority. So begin to break your tasks down into those 3 different areas, and then begin to focus your efforts on getting your tasks done in your A list. So it'd be A, B, and C. 3 different lists, A, B, and C. Once you have your list down, then begin to focus on your A task for the day. Even if something on task B or C seems easier, stay focused, stay disciplined to work through that task until you have completed it. What you will find out is that you are going to get more value, more appreciation from your time. Why? Because you are completing your task in the order that is most important, and you're actually looking at completing your to-do list for the day. Now, the fourth tip that you want to do is to schedule time on your calendar to do your task list. Schedule time on your calendar. So again, I generally will do this on a Sunday night. I will kind of take a look at what I have going on for the week and then begin to break it down by date according to what I need to do, okay, what I need to accomplish for the week. But then I chunk that down into even smaller goals every single day, okay? Now, what is another way that you can reduce stress? So the first way we've talked about reducing stress is time management. Now, the second way that you can reduce stress is exercise. Exercise. Exercise is an excellent way to release the energy that is generated by stress. Exercise. Exercise also produces endorphins, and endorphins are hormones. They are natural pain relievers that our body naturally will secrete that helps us feel relaxed and energized after a workout. Okay. So exercise is an excellent way to help you to reduce your stress. Now, number 3, what's the third way that you can reduce your stress? Relaxation techniques. Relaxation techniques. Some of the techniques that you can do are controlled breathing, progressive muscle relaxation. Some people use things like guided imagery. I do massage. I use essential oils. So these are all effective methods for reducing stress. And you have to find out what method is going to work best for you. Now, in a controlled breathing, how about I lead us through a really, really short but practical and simple controlled breathing exercise. Okay, you ready? All right, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to sit up straight. You want to sit up straight in your seat and put your hands on your knees and just kind of relax for a moment. And then we are going to take 3 deep breaths. 3 deep breaths. We're going to inhale and hold it, and then we're going to blow it out. And we're going to do this 3 times consecutively. And I will guide you through this quick exercise. Okay, you ready? So go ahead and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Now, what I will hope that you have noticed is that you have you noticed your shoulders kind of relaxing. You notice that your breathing um, became a more lighter. But this is something that you can do every single day, every single moment. But the thing is, just like you had to discipline yourself to be about the procrastination and your time management, you have to discipline yourself to really pay attention to your body. Discipline yourself to pay attention to your body, because your body will tell you. Your body is responding. Your body is giving you signals. And so once you find yourself in a place where, you need to release some stress, or you are encountering, you have something that's unexpected that happens, doing controlled breathing is one of the easiest things that you can do to bring yourself back into center and to bring you back into focus. Okay. Now, the fourth way that you can address, not address, but that you can reduce your stress is to accept what you cannot change. Accept what you cannot change. That's number 4. If a problem is beyond your control, let it go. Problems that are beyond our control, let it go. Some things cannot be predicted or planned. And so it is best for us to begin to work within our own limitations of the situation. And sometimes there are things that we just can't do. They are out of our control, but yet we allow them to get in a state of stress. But we don't have to. What can we do to change it? There's nothing that we can do to change. The only person that you can control and have control over is yourself. We don't have control over other people. We don't have control over other situations. And so I believe that if we learn to just accept what we cannot change, that we are going to be a lot happier people, and we're going to be even healthier people as well. Now, the 5th tip that I want to talk about on tonight is to get support. Get support. When your stress level is high, you need to share your concerns with your family. Share your concern with a trusted friend. And not only just be one that dumps out. Some people, they like to just dump. but they never are in a position or position themselves to also be support. So you have to be aware of that when you are in a stressful situation, share with someone, excuse me, share with a friend, share with a confidant, find someone that you can trust, that you can release. Release. But also, don't just be one that just releases all the time, but are never in the position to also share that burden with someone else when they may need to release. It's twofold. It's never one fold. And we also have to be aware of people that pull on us like that, because it's not good for us. It's not good for us. Everybody needs somebody that they can talk to. Everybody. But we have to just be aware. We have to be aware. Be the friend that you want to be. Be the friend to someone else that you want to be. Be that one that your sister or your brother, your spouse, be that one that someone else can come to in their time of need. Don't just be a time waster and a time sucker. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be the friend that you want to be. Help them when they also need support. Now, let us talk about dealing with daily stress. Dealing with daily stress. Stress is a physiological, psychological, and a behavioral response to change. This change, it may be positive or negative, and your response may be helpful or it may not be helpful. So a moderate level of stress actually motivates us to meet the challenges in life. So we'll never avoid stress in its totality. Normal stress is good for us. The part that we have to be aware of is when we have extended stress, or where stress becomes chronic. So we can have like a temporary burst of adrenaline, which will help us to say complete a race, or to study for an important exam, or to face an intimidating situation. That's temporary. Temporary. Ideally, this physiological and mental arousal actually will subside. It subsides when the stressful event is over. However, prolonged stress can interfere with your health and your performance, leading to physical and mental exhaustion and illness. I have to say that again. Prolonged stress can interfere with our health and our performance, leading to physical, mental exhaustion and illness. So we have to learn how to manage the stress. We cannot allow ourselves to get into states of prolonged stress. Temporary burst is okay because it's going to subside. But when it becomes prolonged, that's when we start entering into dangerous territory. Dangerous territory. So how are we dealing with our everyday stress? How are we dealing with it? What things have you instituted and set in place in your life to make sure that something that is supposed to be only temporary does not turn into a prolonged event? We got to think about that. So now, one of the things that we have to do is we have to know when we are overly stressed. We have to know when we are overly stressed. You have to know yourself. Get to know yourself. Become acquainted with yourself. Know what triggers you. Know what helps you to relieve your stress. Some things that will contribute to our stress, causing us to be overly stressed, could be problems of eating or sleeping. increased boredom or fatigue, the inability to concentrate, impatience, frustration, or anger over, here's that word, uncontrollable annoyances, disrupted relationships and feelings of isolation, any unwanted change in behavior, increased use of alcohol or other drugs, frequent headaches, backaches, muscle aches, or upset stomachs, frequent illnesses, accidents, or injuries. These are all signs and symptoms that you are overly stressed. Overly stressed. Now, these symptoms may indicate, again, excess levels of stress. But if you are a friend, please hear me clearly. If you are experiencing prolonged stress, you may want to try some management techniques, or my favorite, seek counseling. There's nothing wrong with seeking counseling. Nothing wrong with it. Find you someone that can help you through the process. Now, I want to give us some tips to manage stress. Tips to manage stress. Tips to manage stress. We have already talked about overcoming procrastination, using exercise. We talked about relaxing, laughing, think positively, take a break, get support. So we have long-term and we have short-term. Short-term, long-term. Long-term, short-term. These techniques, they may be helpful alone, or you may need to use a combination depending on your situation. The full benefits of stress management may not be immediately visible, but with patience and practice, you can design a successful stress management program. So we all need one. What do you do? What do you do to manage your stress? What have you set in motion to manage your stress? Let's talk about it. One of the biggest time management obstacles is the natural tendency to procrastinate. We talked about this earlier. Procrastination is usually related to fear that the task is overwhelming, unpleasant, or the results will be negative. Usually these fears, they're just imaginary. Excuse me. They are our imagination. Most people discover that once you get started, I'm a witness to this. Once I get started, the activity is not as difficult as I thought that it was going to be. It's not as unpleasant as I anticipated for it to be. So here are some tips, again, to taking the most difficult steps. Excuse me. Now, I kind of alluded to some of this when I was talking earlier, when I began to talk about things that we can do to help us overcome our stress. Chunking. Take larger tasks and break them down into smaller tasks. So take something that's really large and begin to break it down into smaller chunks. And then set a time limit or a checkpoint for you to go through and to begin to move through each task. Okay. Now, leading tasks, pre-plan 2 or 3 very easy activities related to the task, which you can quickly do to get you started. Number 3, environmental control. Set up your environment to decrease distractions and interruptions. This may include putting your phone not just on vibrate, but put it on silent, or even just power your phone off for some time. If you're at work, put a do not disturb sign on your door if it's possible. When you talk about these leading tasks, it becomes important for you to know what's going to work for you. What's going to work for you? What's going to work for your environment? Let me tell you something else. Clutter. Clutter, 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 clutter. Clean your environment. Clutter causes stress. Clutter blocks your creativity. So aside from the environmental control of looking at the decreasing your distractions, you also want to make sure that you have a clear environment. What does your office space look like? What does your desk look like? What does your bedroom look like? Your closet, wherever you spend time at, what does that look like? Decluttering will also help with this. Now, you also want to follow the 5-minute rule. The 5-minute rule. What is the 5-minute rule? It is to simply make a commitment for 5 minutes on the task before deciding whether or not you're going to continue in it. Usually, once you have spent 5 minutes on a task, you will find that you kind of get in a groove, you get on a roll, and then you will be able to continue it. So institute a 5-minute plan. Next, you want to make sure you plan breaks. Don't just keep working, but plan to take a 10-minute break after every 45 minutes of work that you are doing on any particular activity. And this is going to help you to prevent burnout and overload. Now, we talked about exercise. Again, exercise is an excellent way to release that negative energy that is associated with stress. Jogging, running, aerobics, if you still do them, Zumba, swimming. These are all effective ideas for relieving stress. And they also will aid in weight management. So a brisk walk during a time where you may be studying for something is always going to be a great stress reliever. We already went through and did the exercise with the controlled breathing. When you are under stress, controlling your breathing is so important. You'll always be able to identify it because your breath becomes shallow and your muscles become tight. So as we did earlier, when you do those deep breaths from your diaphragm, you actually begin to loosen up that muscle tension. So you can either sit down as we did in the chair, or you can lie down on your bed or on the floor. But again, these controlled breathing exercises are very simple and very easy to do. Now, progressive muscle relaxation. Now, this technique involves first tightening muscles that are stiff and then relaxing them. So we can do this with our shoulders. So again, you want to sit up straight in your chair, and you want to just simply tighten up your shoulders, hold it, and then release. Tighten, then release. Tighten, and then release. You can do the same thing with your fist. You can clench your fingers together and form a tight fist, and you can hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. Again, clench fist, do your countdown, and then relax. Hold, relax. hold, relax. You can do this even with your face. Any place you have a muscle, okay, you can teach yourself to be aware of when the stress comes and to be aware of when you feel your muscles tightening up, to do one of these exercises. Now, number 3, this is one of my favorite ones. You can do guided imagery. You can do prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation. Yes, these are methods to help you to reduce stress through relaxation. Yes. What are some other things that we can do? Laughter. We know laughter is like medicine. Laughter is good for the soul. So there are various brain centers that are involved with the laughter response, and studies have shown that neurons containing natural painkillers, these endorphins that I talked about earlier, they are in many of the brain centers related to laughter. Therefore, a good laugh can create a natural high and help to relieve stress that you experience in everyday life. So what can you do? Pop in a comedy. Do what you need to do in order to create that laughter so that you can live a stress-free life or reduce the stress in your life. We also know that we can think positively. Anytime that you predict a negative outcome, do you not know that your body actually responds to that by preparing for failure or distress? Mm-hmm. Every time you predict or you begin to think negatively about an outcome, you are conditioning your body to prepare for failure or distress. So begin to imagine yourself performing well in difficult situations. Not only will you increase your likelihood of success and succeeding, but you will probably enjoy facing more challenges if you believe that you can manage them well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just have to take a break. Sometimes you simply need to take a break from a stressful situation in order to regain your patience and your energy. Allow yourself to enjoy these breaks and then come back and reapproach the problem. And finally, again, we've talked about these earlier in the broadcast. Get support. Get support. Begin to build relationships with friends and with people and the company that you enjoy. Maintain a balance by taking time to have fun. Allow yourself to lean on them when you need support, but also, again, be prepared to help them when they are overloaded as well. Be prepared to help them when they are overloaded as well. I hope that something that I have said on this evening has encouraged you to look at how you are managing your stress and to make you want to stop the stress in your life. Stop the stress in your life. I thank you for hanging out with me on this week's podcast. We will be back here on next Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for liking. Thank you if you share the broadcast and you feel like that this is something that someone else needs to know. Feel free to please share it. If you would like to send us a message, you can also inbox us for more information. Stay tuned because we are going to be going a little bit deeper into some of our holistic strategies that we teach here at my company, which is Healing Oasis Total Body Therapy. Our overarching brand company is Jewels of Wellness. Again, I thank you for hanging out with me on tonight. God bless you all, and we will catch you on the airways on next Wednesday. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.